Now, Brian and Burmo's chasing the cash at Manchester United. Newcastle are moving on to other right-wing targets. Let's get stuck into this one.
Heroes celebrate. They have done it.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with another Rumour Has It video talking about the players linked to the football club this coming transfer window. It is quiet, is it not? This mini transfer window from the 1st to the 10th of June. Then it reopens again the 16th right through to September. And we've seen supposed targets come and go. You know, there's been stories coming out recently that apparently Mateus Cunha was never on the radar for Newcastle, so that was never a player that they were looking at, if you believe what you read in the Telegraph from Luke Edwards. Apparently, Brian and Burmo was high up on the transfer list. He was actually at the top of the recruitment team's right winger list. But as soon as they heard the wage demands and the transfer fee that Brentford wanted, to realise that was not a plausible deal for Newcastle to do. So they've moved on to other targets. And that brings me on to this player that I'm going to talk about now. We've covered this lad before, but he's come back onto the scene on the radar. And it's been interesting. It's kind of split the fan base a little bit. And I'm going to give you my opinion on this particular player. So it's this lad right here. And it's Noni Madueke. And that's a player we've been linked to before. He started the season really strong, actually, and was doing some brilliant stuff, you know, some good assists and goals and looked lively, you know, and we were thinking, oh God, we missed out on a great player there. He'd been brilliant for Newcastle. And then he kind of tailed off towards the back end of the season. It's led a few people to be a bit concerned, I think, about his attitude and his work rate and everything else as well. But I think this kid's an excellent player. I really, really do. And you've got to remember, he's only 23 years old as well. And one thing Newcastle have above everybody else is this manager who has an ability to improve players. You know, look at what he's done with, you know, with Sean Longstaff previously, Mickey Almiron, Joe Linton. Look what he's done with Lewis Hall, Tino Livramento, Anthony Gordon, Dan Burn. He's got them all as England regulars now, you know, and Jacob Murphy as well. He's had him playing the season of his life. So I think for Noni Madueke, you know, it doesn't look like he's going to have much of a future at Chelsea. They obviously signed Pedro Neto, and that kind of shoved him out a little bit. They signed even more players this summer. You know, and maybe Madueke is thinking, oh, do you know what? I need a move here because I want to be in for England contention. He's only had 5 caps. He got 2 assists in that length of time that he was on the pitch for England. But this kid has got the ability to play for England regularly. He's got the ability to be playing in, you know, title races and Champions League football and everything else as well. And Newcastle could give him that opportunity. We'll get into his stats in a minute, but this is the links that are coming out in the media. So apparently Newcastle have already contacted Chelsea with regards to Madueke in terms of an offer. So I think Chelsea want around about 42 to 50 million quid, I think it is, according to Court Offside for Madueke. But Newcastle kind of see his value more around about the 35 million quid mark. So we're kind of a little bit far apart in terms of evaluations. But we've been here before with Chelsea, you know, in terms of obviously the Lewis Hall deal where we took him on loan and then ended up buying him permanently outright. You know, he wasn't as much of a starter maybe at the time as Madueke was or has been. So maybe that's obviously fueled the difference in the deal. And obviously attackers are always seen as a bit more valuable than defenders. Sadly, aren't they? That's just the way football goes. But you know, it would be interesting to see how Newcastle go with this one, but looking at his stats and kind of where his strengths lie. I mean, you can see on the radar grid there is, you know, his goals. He's on the 59th percentile, so 32 appearances in the Premier League last season, 7 goals and 3 assists. His XG is really high. His XG is sitting in the 88th percentile, so he's got an XG of 9.6. So, you know, the lad gets in great positions and creates chances as well. You can see his shots are high, his shots on target are high as well. His assists aren't particularly great for a winger, but a large portion of the season, Chelsea haven't really had that much of a potent centre forward. So that does affect your assist numbers. You know, when you look at the likes of Jacob Murphy's assists, you know, with Alexander Isak on the end. So your Madueke is sitting at, you know, the 30th percentile. Jacob Murphy's on the 98th percentile because he's passing the ball to Alexander Isak. So that's the difference of having a potent centre forward in the middle of the park. I mean, Chelsea went and signed, you know, Liam Delap, and They look like they might be getting Ekatike as well. So, potentially next season, Chelsea could have that centre forward that could boost your stats as a winger. But hopefully, Madueke will be the one crossing the ball in for Isak to finish. But look at some of his other strength as well. His touches in the area, progressive carries. He runs with pace, with strength. He's got quick feet. He's got close control. He's a very, very dangerous winger, right winger as well, an area that we do need strength, and there's no doubt about it. Carries into the area, successful take-ons are decent at 79th percentile. His tackles and recoveries are a little bit low as well. Chelsea aren't really a hard-working defending side. They've got, some good defensive midfielders and the likes of Caicedo who can go back and fill in and get that ball, and Madueke can stay wide rather than tracking his runners back. But at Newcastle, you need to work hard. And that's the kind of question a lot of fans are asking about Madueke. Can he do that? Will he track back? Will he be that hard-working winger that Jacob Murphy has shown to be? Because you can see on the radar grid there, Madueke only really outscores Murphy on XG, shots, pass completions a bit higher, and shot creation chances there. But everything else, Jacob Murphy absolutely hoses him on. And the biggest thing that Jacob Murphy probably does is his running and his tracking back. Looking at his defensive stats, he's got 93rd percentile of clearances, 82nd percentile blocks, 64th percentile interceptions, 30 percentile tackles. So you can see he's getting back and putting himself in good positions to intercept the ball and get us on the break as well. So Jacob Murphy's had an unbelievable season, but the $64 million question is, how long is it going to last? And we do need another right winger to challenge Murphy, and to keep Murphy on this kind of run of form that he's on in case he tails off. And someone like Madueke, I think, would be a really good buy to bring in the football club to give him that opportunity. But his contract doesn't expire till 2030. So it's going to be something that I think we're going to have to come to some kind of an agreement with Chelsea on, with this gap in terms of the numbers, where we see the value of the player, where they see the value of the player. But the only good thing potentially, and I can't believe I'm saying it because Chelsea just seem to sell hotels to each other and beat FFP that way, but Chelsea cannot have all these players in this squad. They've got about 400 players in the squad, all on 9-year contracts, and 150, 120 grand a week. That's the reason they flicked Sancho back over to Manchester United. I did actually see some people say, would you have Sancho at Newcastle United? I think Sancho's already shown his attitude is pretty rotten. He's a very talented footballer, but the fact that he's not willing to take a pay cut, allegedly, to go and play regular football is a bit of a bad thing. You look at that and you think, I'm not too sure about that. If Eddie Howe could get Jadon Sancho back to the levels he was at Dortmund, it would be his biggest miracle since Joe Linton. But I don't think Sancho is going to be on the radar. I don't think that's an Eddie Howe type of player. But Madueke, I think he can bring to the football club a little bit like he did with Joe Willock, work on bits of his game that he's not particularly good at, so he doesn't track back as much as Murphy. Can maybe bring that element to his game as well. But if you've got Tino Livramento on the right-hand side and Madueke in front of him, Tino's ability to get up and down the park with pace maybe negates the need for the winger to track back as much as Murphy's doing, but it does keep our team dynamic and the tactics and the structure, the way we play. It does just knit it all together, and I can't imagine how I would want to abandon that just to sign one player in the shape of Madueke. But let us know in the comments below what you guys think about signing Noni Madueke. Would you take him to the football club? I certainly would, because I think he's a very talented player. 23 years old. He's a great age for how to work his magic on and improve him as a player in the next couple of seasons. And I think he would do that. And I think Madueke would be a player that could get us all off our seats. I think we'd be excited when he gets the ball, runs at people with pace, inside, outside, putting balls in for Isak. I think it's a kind of footballer that we love at St. James's Park. It really does excite us, those wingers, they get out wide and skin a player and put it in. He can also tuck inside and, and shoot and rattle one in the top corner as well. So I'd be very excited to see Madueke there. There may be more quality right-winger options out there, but they'll cost a lot more money probably, and they could be a lot more complex to get as well. And we don't want to hang around too long. If there's a deal to be done for Madueke, I think he could really improve the squad. But let us know in the comments below what you guys think. Would you take him? If you wouldn't, tell me why. We always like to hear from you. Drop a comment and we'll do our best to reply to as many as we can. Like and subscribe. Keep it ever more, guys. Help get us to that 10,500 mark, but on to 11,000. Hopefully, we'll see Newcastle sign a player in this little mini window. But if not, hopefully, they'll get the finger out their arse sharpish before the pre-season starts. So thanks for watching. Keep it ever more, everyone. Have a cracker. We'll see you later. Cheers.
Howe's heroes celebrate. They have done it.